Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Truth, where today we're going to go over how college football looked this week and preview a little bit of next week, what to look at, what games maybe to watch whenever you're not watching your favorite team, games that could be interesting. So let's go to the Thursday game we had. Number 22, Miami. Yeah, this was expected. I mean, it's one of those games. It's one of those games. This one was a little surprising. South Carolina and Georgia. South Carolina actually led at half. So that's pretty interesting. You know, you want to see a better win for Georgia, but it is still early. It's only week 3. It's still early. Um, you know, it's still early, but it is in a conference too. So I'm not surprised, but you want to see a better one. I feel like Georgia will probably have a better one. It's still number 1 Georgia. We'll keep an eye on it, but you want to have a better one for the number 1 team in the nation. Bowling Green versus Michigan. Look, as we expected, Michigan did do pretty well against Bowling Green. This game, Florida State versus Boston College. I had the pleasure of watching this game, and let me tell you, Boston College put up a fight against Florida State. I mean, it really felt like it was coming down to the very end. Like Florida or Boston College could pull off the upset, but Florida skates by. I mean, Boston College. This is I believe this is like their like I think their announcers are talking about this is like their 9/11 game or whatever. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but like I know during that game they play really well and they can upset a lot of teams. I don't know what about it is or what about this date, but they play amazing. They do what they do. But Boston College could be a team to look at. Boston College is 1-2, but they're only 0-1 in the ACC, so they could do some things and finish with only 2 losses. Wyoming versus Texas. I'm gonna be honest. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, just as it started, I thought Wyoming was gonna probably pull off the upset from Texas. This is a disappointing game. It is for Texas. I think it is because you struggled for 3 quarters straight. And then you finally hit your stride in the fourth quarter. It should not have been that close. Like, if you're going to rep number 4 in the nation, you can't keep it that close against a team like Wyoming. That's just the truth. Look, Wyoming's quarterback led 136 yards and an interception. You can't have that. You got to have a better game. I think they will. I think maybe this is probably one of their bad games of the season. But you just gotta do better. You gotta do better. Put up more wins like this Western Kentucky versus Ohio State game. Look, number 6 Ohio State. They play home. They play home. They just do what they do. Penn State versus Illinois, same thing. Michigan or Washington versus Michigan, same thing. Notre Dame versus Central Michigan. I'm a team mascot. This was interesting. Sorry, guys. This was interesting. Just because you had Notre Dame, who coming in, people doubt Notre Dame. People still doubt Notre Dame. But to be able to beat Central Michigan by a substantial amount really sets their feet in like, okay, right now they're proving they are a top 10 team in the nation. They're beating teams pretty decently, and they're staying undefeated. So, we'll see. I want to see how they look when they play away, when they play like an actual because they're an independent school. So I want to see when they play tougher teams away, how's that going to be like? What are we going to see then? Is Notre Dame still going to put up a fight, or is it going to be like, okay, well, they're a good team, but they're not that good, not yet. Let's talk about Alabama. So everyone's talking about this could be the end of Bama. This is the end of Bama. This and that. I can't say that. I'm not going to go out and say that. But that quarterback situation is a problem because really Alabama was, sorry guys again. We should stop doing this. stop doing this. I don't like when it does that. Sorry, guys. But Alabama has all the tools. They have everything. So to see those quarterbacks struggle, you can see how much it affects their team. You'd like them to figure out that quarterback situation pretty quickly. Look, you're still 2-1. I don't know if you'll be ranked 10th after that game. I really don't know if they're going to be ranked 10th. I don't think they're going to be. They're going to be in the top 25, but where they place in that top 25, I'm not going to be sure. I'm pretty sure they're not going to move up though. Let's talk about this. Tennessee gets upset by Florida, the Gators. Oh my! And they got upset by about 2 possessions. That's not good for a number 11 seed. Number 11 team in the nation. They're probably gonna drop a lot. I don't know if they'll be out of the top 25, but they're gonna drop a lot. Just because non-25 team, not a team people really went into the season thinking, oh yeah, they're gonna make some moves. They're gonna really do some things. Not really what we expected, but good stuff to Florida. It's an SEC team playing another SEC team. I mean, look, it's football. But it's still shocking, especially with how many points they won by. Utah versus Weber State, look, that's not surprising. Oregon versus Hawaii, this is a really good game for Oregon. I could see Oregon maybe moving up a couple spots just because, one, Tennessee lost, but also they're beating teams pretty well. I'm a little higher on Oregon. I like what they're doing. I like what they're putting together. I want to see how far they can go. I'm really interested. Another team I have feel the same way is LSU versus LSU. Yeah, and then they went into Mississippi State. This is the game you want to see Alabama play. This is the game you want to see Georgia play. This is the game you want to see Tennessee play, where they beat a team really, really badly. That's what you want to see from these teams. So to see LSU do that is going to be interesting to see how this all finishes out. Because we could be looking back and say, well, South Carolina was actually a pretty good team. Mississippi State wasn't. Or we could be looking at the other way, like Mississippi State was a really good team, but they just lost a really dominant team. And then Georgia's somewhere in there. And then, South Carolina's not that good. That's how we could look at it. But we just have to wait and see. But this is a game where you want other top-ranked SEC teams to have. Because then it just backs them up. It helps you get number one ranked votes. But it is what it is. Going into our next upset of the game, Missouri versus Kansas State. Offensively, Missouri started out a little bit stronger. They went up 10, and then they kind of kept pace. Didn't really do anything in the third quarter, but that fourth quarter is where they shined. I feel like if they would have played complete ball for our 4 quarters, maybe it would have been a little bit more. But other than that, I knew it was a close game. I was monitoring it throughout the day, and I was like, that could be a game where Kansas State gets upset, and sure enough, they did. San Diego State versus Oregon State, not surprised. It's the number-ranked team in the nation. This one was a little surprising. Georgia Tech kind of, I know they had some late points in the third quarter, but still, it is a little surprising for Ole Miss. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. You come back with a really good win, so that's nice. This game was amazing. Colorado versus Colorado State. Yeah, if y'all don't know, when a double overtime, there was a lot of chipping back and forth, a lot of cheap shots, especially by Colorado State. Colorado backs up why they should be top 25 team in the nation. My main thing is their defense. I want to see that defense start shutting out teams like really well. That's my one thing. But other than that, it's a good one by Colorado. Deion Sanders is doing something good. If they keep this pace up, they're going to get a lot of recruits next year. They're going to get a lot of recruits, a lot of top recruits. Oklahoma, surprising. I did not think Oklahoma was going to be this good this year. But I mean, hey, look, they're backing it up. They're putting together dominant wins. Now, when they play these tougher teams, I want to see how they play, but they're putting together these dominant wins, and it looks good for them. North Carolina, we all kind of knew North Carolina was going to be in the mix somehow in the top 25, but they're quietly building a reputation. Drake May, not too good of a good game statistic wise. I want to dive into that and see, because coming into this year, he was around the second best quarterback. He was a top 5 quarterback, second to fifth. But I want to dive into that game and see how he played. Duke versus Northwestern. Duke just continue to do what Duke's doing. No, they're not playing the toughest teams, but they're getting wins. They're continuously getting wins. Washington State versus Northern Colorado. Look, it is what it is. You'd like to see Washington State not let up 3 touchdowns in each quarter on each of the last 3 quarters. But other than that, look, top 25 team, you do what you do. UCLA, this was a great win for UCLA. They put up a lot of points. They did really well. Western Michigan versus Iowa. Iowa probably back in the top 25. The slow start in the first quarter, but they got together and they dominated. Overall, a little surprised by a couple games, but not too shocked, I would say. I want to see some teams do better to really make me feel confident about how this will end out in the year. But we'll see. We'll see. Going into week 4, going into next week, kind of taking a peek. We have Michigan versus Rutgers. We all kind of know. I keep an eye on this Clemson game. It could be interesting, especially with how Florida State played last week. But I wouldn't necessarily go out on anything. Another game I'd probably keep an eye on is this Bama game. I'm really not feeling Bama this week, especially after coming into next week, especially after this week. Look, I don't want to say this is gonna happen, but we could see Bama get blown out. Like, that is a possibility, or we could see Bama putting it together and coming out with the win. Utah versus UCLA. I feel like that could be a good game. Oregon versus Colorado. That's another game I'd circle on. 2:30, I guess, is the ideal time to watch football, college football, because you got a lot of good games. That's another game where it's like that's where it comes down to can Colorado's defense slow down Oregon, and if so, I feel like I like Colorado's offense. I like it. They could win that game if they can slow down that Oregon offense. Nothing really interesting here. I would, however, spot this Arkansas and LSU game. Arkansas looks pretty good. Don't get me wrong, Arkansas looks pretty good. It could be a team. They're not talked about a lot, but they have a good roster. They have, I believe, a junior, senior quarterback. It's an older roster, so they really have a lot of experience in college football. They could be a team. Keep your eye on them against number 14 LSU. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But sorry. Oregon State versus Washington State, that's a Pac-12 matchup to keep an eye on. I'd keep an eye on this Baylor game too. Baylor can shock people. Even though they've had a rough start, Baylor can shock people. But I also would be surprised if Texas blew them up. This is the game. This is the game that I'm circled on my map to see what's going to happen. Because this is going to be really interesting. It's in Notre Dame. Notre Dame's at home against number 6 ranked Ohio State. Here's the thing. We're going to really see what Notre Dame is about whenever they play Ohio State. We're going to really see, okay, can this Notre Dame team pack it up, or were they, are they not there yet? And we'll see. It's going to be really interesting. Penn State versus Iowa. Another game to look at. I really expect Penn State to do pretty well in this game, though, to back up their ranking. Going down, that's really it. Keep your eye on USC just to monitor how well Caleb Williams is doing. He's put up a lot of touchdowns. It is a later game, but I expect USC to do well. But yeah, that'll be it for today's video. Let me know what teams you disagree with, what teams you agree with, how you feel on this or that. What games do you have circled for next week? They're like, yeah, that's gonna be a game. That's gonna be a really good one. No, let me know. Thanks for watching, and see y'all.